nerderotic.com.
Welcome back to the Nerdrotic Podcast. My name is Gary Buechler. I am live in San Francisco, California. I come to you from nerdrotic.com, and I am with my good friend Dennis Bithoulkas in San Diego. What is up?
The sun is finally going down. We get your weather report too. It's hotter than hell down here.
It's hot. It's hot, and that's all of my white trash wear to be. And San Francisco smells really bad when it's hot. Just to let you know, not
like
a
ass.
Fun place to.
Literally like ass.
It is ass. Yeah, I'm glad I live away from downtown a little bit, but woo, man alive. But we are here. We had debated back and forth on how we're going to podcast about this, and we're still not sure how we do it. So we're going to do it. We're going to do it episode by episode, and that is the Tick. The Tick, Gangnam Style. Yeah, no, we're going to do it Tick style, Ben Edlund style. We both have been looking forward to this a lot. Amazon, while they did a pretty good job promoting it at Comic-Con, they've done a crap job promoting it out to the real world. And I think the word is getting out. I doubt most people have even watched it yet. And, I asked the question, if anybody's watching this, you want to comment, I'd love to hear what you think. How would you prefer we do series that drop all at once? Would you rather we just review the entire thing like we've done in the past, or maybe in 2 parts, or should we do it episode by episode and do it over the course of a month or 2 months? Which I am open to either, because it seems to me that, and with other people too, it's not just us, that when you do the full review of the entire series of, say, like the Defenders, a lot of people don't watch it, and it's because everybody's watching it at different times. That's why, as a recap podcaster, not a big fan of the binge, of the dropping and the binge. I like the binge watch, but everybody watches them at different times, and we do spoilery podcasts, so I can see why people would want to stay away if they're taking their time watching this. And most normal people probably take a couple of months to watch Defenders or Daredevil. We are not normal though. And the Tick, this was perfect. It's it's half an hour long. It's just like Ash vs. Evil Dead. And Dennis and I were really pissed at the delay of Ash vs. Evil Dead. We will be doing a video about this very soon. We're digging up some dirt. We're going to try to find out the reason why this is really happening. But the Tick is a great replacement. It might be the best thing I've seen this year. Dennis, what do you think?
I don't know if it's the best thing I've seen this year, but it's pretty good. I like it. I like it a lot. But then again, I'm a fan of the Tick just as well as you are. I know that, and it's a lot of fun. There's a lot of fun things in it.
Yeah, I just it might not be better than American Gods, but I got so much joy watching this, or Westworld. But dude, this hit the mark. And let's just talk about the Tick has had 4 incarnations. They've had a comic book, a cartoon series, a live action series that was on Fox, and now a live action streaming series. How many things of anything where all 4 versions were good in their own right? All of them. I would watch any of them at any time. I would put this being, aside from the comic, the source material is always the best. This is the best version though. And let's see how it plays out, because the cartoon was pretty masterful. So
yeah, the cartoon,
it's the best live action version for sure.
Yeah. Yes. Well, I mean, the other one only got a 1 season and on Fox. So that tells you enough right there that it wasn't shown in order. And set on that one. But they had actually one of the best representations of Batman Well.
Oh God, yes.
Which we were just talking about this in our pre-production here, that we would love to have Nestor Carbon. He was the guy who played the mayor in the Dark Knight series. We would love to have him come back as Batman Well, like an aged Batman Well, even do like Batman Well Returns or something like that. And we were just laughing that he could actually have a sidekick who's actually a girl who he doesn't know is a girl that keeps following him around.
Yeah.
And,
like Batman Well or Deflator Mouse strikes again or strikes back, and he's like fighting all these mutants, and like Tit goes and visits him like, wow, pal, what's going on here? It'd be fucking hilarious, dude. like having this epic Watchmen, Alan Moore, Frank Miller style thing going down, and the Tick just sauntering on through.
Or
There
you
you
just
go.
have it as TV, like how they have the TV playing in the background in a lot of these episodes of the Tick. Do the same thing with the Batman and have that whole thing played out
in the background.
in the background.
Oh, kind of like the VLM is playing out in season 1.
Exactly.
Yeah. The VLA. Yeah, we'll talk about the VLM in a second. But so we got the pilot that was out, and that's what we're talking about today. We're doing this episode by episode. We're talking about the pilot, which has actually been out for months. When did that drop?
A year.
It's been out for a year. And it really doesn't miss a beat with the rest of the series, except for one thing, which we'll talk about in our next podcast. But it set the tone. The comics had always been kind of violent and kind of dark with their humor. And Ben Edlund says it himself. This is the single greatest parody of comic books ever, because Edlund loves comic books. And this mind you, for people who are just watching this who haven't read the comic, the Tick started out as a mascot for a comic shop newsletter. And that's how he started out.
Comics.
And that's how Ben Edlund started it. And wow, it's amazing the industry that has come out of this, and what this little kid who used to draw a newsletter turned into probably one of the best TV writers in Hollywood. I would say he might be the best one going right now, in my opinion, especially for genre.
Yeah, we used to nickname him the Fixer, because whenever shows would go bad, they would bring him in and he would right the ship and fix everything and make it into a stellar series. Buffy the Vampire Slayer, he came in at the end of that and actually he came in during Angel. I take that back. Season 2 of Angel, and fixed that. And so everything you see from season 2 on, that's all him, including all those ideas.
Smile Time.
Smile Time. He's Supernatural. He came in after, I believe season 7 or 8, when it started kind of going in the really downward spiral, and picked it back up again. That's why you have a 13th season of Supernatural coming out, because of Ben Edlund. Lost. He was on that. Gotham.
He did a Gotham episode. Yeah.
He's been on everything.
No, what'd you say? He did some Venture Brothers work.
The creators of Venture Brothers, Doc Hammer and Bruce McCullough, who's also known as Jackson Public. He has 2 different personas. They used to work on the cartoon, The Tick, so they know Ben Edlund. And Ben, in the first 3 seasons of Venture Brothers, has come on and guest written episodes for each of those seasons. And they're crazy episodes.
Well, guy, just with Smile Time, any guy who can make a puppet episode out of Angel, which is, kind of the darker, more serious Buffy series, and make it freaking good, and a puppet gets attacked by a werewolf, and then merchandise. I mean, that puppet's worth money. Now, I'll go back and watch that now. The last couple of seasons of Angel, because of him, were great. And I think, Whedon fans are gonna. In a lot of ways, I like Ben Edlund's. I love Whedon's drama and his dialogue, but I think as far as overall, when you want to do a singular story, you go to Ben Edlund. He can pack so much within a half hour or 60 minutes of television, better than anybody. And dude, this guy's humor. Humor is like. It's like any skill. It's like athletic. It's like athletic skill, musician skill. You have peak. You have a peak. You go up, you have a peak, and you come down. This dude is just like been at 11 his entire life. Mm-hmm. And just right down to like the minute scenes. It's like later in the later episodes, but when Arthur's trying to like use the mask and try to get to the operating system of his thing. He's doing this
with his head.
It's like that's Ben Edlund humor to a T, man. It's like, oh my god, it was so funny. So we started this episode with following Arthur, and the biggest change is making Arthur a main character. He's always been an integral part of it, but he's just been the Tick's sidekick. We've known nothing in the cartoon. He wore the costume all the time. The Tick lived in his house, and we never really knew. Now, when I watched the cartoon, this was in the mid-90s, so please forgive me. but you never really knew or care where the tick came from.
Yeah, and we had a sister Dot as well, who's also in this series. So, but she was more of a, she wasn't a paramedic like we have in the series here. She was a, I don't know. She just kind of didn't really like what Arthur was doing. She was concerned about what he was doing, but she was more of, she was an accountant, I believe, too. So he was an accountant as well in the cartoon, but I think she was also an accountant. They just kind of milk toast her a little bit there.
Well, she was condescending of Arthur too, I believe. Yeah. And I saw the cartoon before I read the comics. It's one of the very first. I remember that's one of the first number ones I had signed by a creator was Tick #1, and I met Ben Edlin, and dude, he was like decked out in like Generation X, like that semi 70s crap that was going on back in the in the mid 90s. Yeah, it was, yeah. I'll find that I have a Polaroid of him signing my, because that was your COA back then, ladies and gentlemen, was your Polaroid. And Polaroids were old back then, by the way. That's not like you were whipping out a Polaroid all the time in the 90s. So we start out with Arthur. We get to see the origin of Arthur. The tick, well, first it starts out with the Tunguska blast, which is great, and the tick is doing the voiceover, narrating, and we see the birth of Superion. And it's just a ship coming down, and there's a couple of guys, I don't know who's native to Tunguska. Tunguskans?
No, it's in Russia, so you have
but
you do have native people.
It's by
Mongolian. It's by Mongolia.
Yeah. So and we had a couple guys there watching the thing go down, and the thing explodes, and they just the whole reaction is so goddamn funny. I can't redo it. He's like, your reindeer's on fire. Shit.
Yeah, it's just kind of an aside. He kind of looks over and he's like, your reindeer on fire. And the other guy looks over and goes, shit, and just keeps running. It's funny because it's so understated after this gigantic explosion that has leveled an entire forest.
Oh, and then with that hyperbolic tick voiceover, and it's what's the guy playing his name? How do you pronounce his last name again?
Peter's Sarah. I can never pronounce his name.
Peter. We're just gonna say Peter.
Fanowich.
So he's the voice of Darth Maul, the guy who voiced Darth Maul in Phantom Menace, and he was also in Guardians of the Galaxy, and he's actually been in a ton of stuff. I never knew he does the best Adam West ever. It's Adam West. It's freaking out, and that's a great, because Tick always had a bombastic voice, but it was always kind of based on Adam West's Batman. This is so good. Melissa was like, "Is that Adam West?" I'm like, "Nope, that's just probably the best imitation of him ever." Oh my god, it's so with the bombastic voiceover and the superhero being born. Then we cut to Arthur, and we get to see Arthur's got a pathetic old life. He's in his, he can't even decide to buy milk or not. And then the Ramses gang comes in and robs the Pyramid Gang, run by Ramses the Fourth, who we'll talk about next podcast. And they have Ramses tattoos, which is lame as hell, but perfect for this show. And believe me, we're hitting the tip of the iceberg of idiotic superhero names and villain names. They're getting their payment from the corner market guy. Arthur, of course, doesn't do anything. Arthur's like your classic beta male, just a nerd, a wimp, everything. Well, everything we recalled back when we were kids and we read comic books. But we find out there's like something behind this, and this is where the depth of the show comes in. Dennis, is the mental health issues that Arthur has. And I thought it was dealt with pretty well, actually. Like, it wasn't made fun of. It was still kind of funny.
Yeah. No, they did a good job. So you have basically Arthur, you see his house. Well, he's talking to his sister. He calls her up, and we find out that Dot is a paramedic. And he's just basically saying, hey, I wanted to say thank you for being a great sister. and she's getting weirded out, which of course you would if your sibling calls you and starts saying, "Hey, I just want to say thank you for helping me out," and
Oh
everything.
God,
like
yeah.
Yeah, because it sounds like you're getting ready to commit suicide. And she goes, "You're not having those thoughts again, are you?" And he goes, "No," kind of like that. And you turn and see his wall, and he's got this entire wall with all these newspaper clippings and printouts and string attached to maps and things like that. And we see that he's been tracking down somebody, we don't know who as of yet. And he's printed out the last piece of a map that he's going to go and check out. And this is where we get Arthur and Tick meeting for the first time, is when Arthur is spying on the pyramid gang, raiding a warehouse, or actually doing something at a warehouse. And the Tick is also surveilling this as well, and sees Arthur, comes down, and decides to say hello.
Out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I love when Dot's talking to, back with Arthur, and she's got like just a big bloody handprint. Yeah.
You can hear the guy screaming in the background.
Yeah, oh my God, it's so funny. But yeah, the Tick just comes out of nowhere, and at first we're led to believe, and it's pretty damn believable that the Tick is in his head. This I guess we could talk about Arthur's origin real quick. That's the biggest scene in the pilot is you find out kind of where I can't remember, was that episode 1 or 2 where he hears the Tick's voice?
It was episode 1.
Okay, so we hear so Arthur heard the Tick's voice in a blue nightlight, so that was leading us to believe, crap, we got a Fight Club situation. It's all in his head, which is kind of how we felt in the comic book, and not really much in the comic books because he interacts with other people, and in the cartoon, I'm sorry. But with this origin, dude, was dark. Yeah, was so dark. So we have the Flag 5, who are help me out with this. Did you write
Christian
it down?
Soldier, Mighty Atlas, Sedona, Uncle Samson, and Shooting Star. And missing from that group, because he was sick, he had worms that day, was Midnight the dog.
Midnight the dog, who we'll hear about later.
Yes.
And also a Mighty Atlas, the human GPS. He can just find anything on a map. That's your superpower. And we also have a theory, don't let me forget, for next podcast about Shooting Star. Yes. So they go out. It turns out that they were hit with weaponized syphilis. So Arthur's having a little lunch with his dad, who's an airline pilot or Air Force pilot, airline pilot. And he had to go pay the parking meter. And we all knew, I mean, at some point something was going to land on him, because like, I love you, son. I love you too, Dad. I'm paraphrasing, of course. And then he goes and pays the parking meter, and a ship crashes on him right in front of Arthur.
We see Arthur playing with this Flag 5 ship, and he's zooming around with it. And we see the real thing with an engine busted out, coming spiraling down out of the sky. And his dad looks up just in time to see the ship land on him, crash on him.
Yeah, so the Flag 5, we got to really be careful. The Flag 5 come out of the ship, and all
three of them do, because 3 of them do. Uncle Samson is dead. They even say, "Oh my God, Uncle Samson's dead," and somebody else is dead too. I think it's Christian Soldier, and or Mighty Atlas. Mighty Atlas was the one that actually died. So it's Christian Soldier, Sedona, and Shooting Star that come out. And their eyes were eaten away from the weaponized syphilis.
From the weaponized syphilis, which is just, that's dark, man. So that,
very dark. And that's when we see the Terror's ship show up.
The Terror comes out, and dude, he is so great.
Jackie Earle Haley.
Jack Earle Haley, who has been in Preacher now and was a great Rorschach. I don't care what anybody says.
Yep.
Dude, he was a legit scary looking character. Okay. I mean,
funny and scary at the same time.
Funny and scary at the same exact time. And he walks up, and he's all like, "Their eyes got eaten out. Just shoot them." And they shoot 2 of them, but they keep one alive.
Well, he goes, "Yeah, the small one, just break his hands."
Break his hands. Yeah. Then he walks over to Arthur. He's like, "Oh, you got something behind your ear. You got nothing." So, it's it's a perfect combination. Actually, it's way darker than the cartoon and way
Yeah.
darker than the comic. The comics weren't even this dark. This is a rated R version. Well, because they're dropping F-bombs and
Yes.
because there's bloody killing, which makes it so much better. Just so much better. And yeah, I even showed my kid. So maybe I'm not the father of the year, but me and Logan were sitting down and watching this. He was chuckling away, so he was getting it. So he's 11. That's all right, He's getting
Yeah,
hair.
there wasn't like splatter blood like Ash versus Evil
Nah,
Dead kind of blood.
nah.
This was just like when the first guy gets shot in the head, we get a little blood, like, and that's when Arthur, as a kid, we see him jump and turn back a little bit, and we find out that everyone knows who Arthur is because when the terror has walked up to him as a child, there's a guy inside the diner that Arthur is sitting outside of taking pictures, and that picture winds up on Time magazine.
Yes. So, which leads us to where Arthur is today, who is a broken man. I don't think he ever became a man. He was so broken, just a broken human being that Dot has to constantly watch, has been in and out of psychiatric wards, has been known to see things. And he is on an obsessive hunt because he is convinced that the Terror is still alive. Now, the Terror was killed in a present storyline. The Terror was killed 10 years earlier by Superion. The proof was they had found some teeth.
They found his teeth, all of his teeth in the crater that he made out of the Terror.
Yep. And we find this out in a scene where Whoopi Goldberg is interviewing Superion
on her show. Yeah.
Yeah, on her show, which is funny as hell. Yeah. People are crazy,
People be cray cray.
People be cray cray. Yeah. And that was so well done, by the way. Yeah, that was. Oh God, this thing. Okay, above and beyond, it is, and we're gonna lament this forever. But Ben Edlund is what he is good, serious storytelling with enough humor. So this is still technically a comedy, but it's
parody.
It's parody. But it's a comedy. Okay, this is on its surface, it's a comedy. But there's enough drama, and when the drama is brought in, so a lot of times, well, most times in comedies, when they bring drama in, it's forced and lame. But when they do it in small doses and it works, you get great movies. Okay, you get even the little bit of drama in Stripes. I know Stripes is a total goofball movie, but like the scenes that get semi-serious are, you believe them, and you believe it in the Tick, like Dot actually caring for Arthur and loving Arthur, like you get that the first episode, automatically, like, and it seems genuine. The girl who plays Dot, she's a pretty good actress, not the best in the world, but they do convey, like, you do feel for Arthur. The guy playing Arthur,
his name is Griffin Newman.
Griffin Newman, like Griffin Dunn.
Not like Griffin Dunn. Yes,
he looks like Griffin Dunn. He looks like the new Griffin Dunn to me.
Valerie Curry is Dot.
Like if they want to remake After Hours, you've got your guy right there, man. Yeah. So that guy is great.
We met him actually. We met him with Ben Edlund. He was sitting right next to Ben Edlund.
He was?
Yeah, when we got our stuff signed. He's the one who signed our books as well.
He did. I didn't even know he was.
Yes.
I was so enamored by that's funny. That comic, I'll pull it out for our second podcast. I've got it right down here, dude. That's so funny. Oh, fuck. He's probably, you know what? I probably fucking humbled his ass right there. He's like, I'm an actor. Who the fuck are you, dude? I'm talking to Ben Edlund, motherfucker. Remember what Ben Edlund said to me, though? I forget. My book? No, he's all, of course I'm going to sign your book because you look like you're going to kill me. And I'm like, what?
I didn't hear that part because I was actually trying to look at what he said on mine.
At Comic-Con, 2 years ago, my beard was like down here.
Oh, that's right. That's right.
And I also, I was also a little bigger, 50 pounds bigger. But yeah, and I'm like, what do you say that for?
But yeah, he was the guy sitting next to him, and
no shit.
Yeah,
I didn't even know. Oh man, sorry, buddy. Sorry, Griffin. You were really good. He was really, really good in this one. And playing kind of the straight man, but somebody you have sympathy for. And again, it's not forced. It felt it. it felt like I was thinking that if the tick is in his head the whole time, this is good enough to where I'd be okay with that. I was okay with it if they wanted to do it that way.
Actually, the scene after, so he gets arrested, of course, for trespassing by the warehouse there because the tick is taken off. He persuades the tick not to go, just wading into all these guys and taking out the warehouse. And then the tick disappears, and then the cops show up and arrest Arthur. And that's when they see that he's the kid in the Time magazine photo, and they call his sister to pick him up. And he's been asked this question, are you taking your meds? Because he's got a couple of meds he's supposed to be taking. He's like, yeah, I'm taking my meds. And we find out as soon as he gets home, what's the first thing he does? He digs the meds out of the trash and starts taking his meds because he's convinced that he's hallucinating the tick as well.
Yep. Which is sad. That's one of those scenes that was like, oh man, that's kind of sad. But again, great, because you could have just done the tick again like Fox did, which was not bad, other than canceling it way too soon. That Fox series, do you know a person who didn't like it, who watched it?
I know a lot of people who didn't see it. I watched it because I was a big fan, and I actually own it on DVD, so I've got the
when I owned that comic shop that I might have mentioned every podcast we've done.
Did you own a comic book store? I didn't know.
I might have mentioned it before. So I got to talk to a lot of people who watched a lot of comic book shows. So I actually talked to a lot of people who watched that show, and I didn't meet one who didn't like it, which is weird because actually in the comic shop, I never got general consensuses on anything. Mm-hmm. That's the one thing about nerds is you're going to get a spectrum of opinions.
And there is a spectrum. We'll just say that.
Opinions are like assholes. They're all different sizes, but everybody has one. Something like that. I don't know. Different colors? No. It depends on the day.
I'm not going to say anything because I'm just going
why not?
We've already been banned once.
Yeah, it's that one. That's one of the few things I got a general consensus on. Though people love the tick, so they could have just done that again, which was straight comedy. It was there was no like seriousness of it at all, and
subtlety.
The subtlety. When this one is full
finesse.
of them.
Finesse. Now I get where he's using that, the finesse. That he was actually talking about this with the show. Oh,
yes.
You actually recommend finesse. That's what he was talking about with the show. Yeah. Okay, I got it.
Yeah, there you go. So that's what. So Arthur is following Ramses the Fourth, their gang, the Pyramid Gang, and this is where we see Miss Lint, who is new to the show. Mm-hmm. As a new character, she was. I could have sworn I've seen her before, but I checked out the IMDb, and I have never seen Jane the Virgin.
I haven't either.
I have nothing good or bad to say because I've never seen it, but she was in it. My God, I love Miss Lint. Loved her from
Yara Martinez is the actress's name. Does a phenomenal job, as you see in later episodes. But even in this beginning episode, just the palpable anger and irritation that you see in her. Especially when she goes back and we find out that she's living with her ex-husband because neither one of them wants to sell out the condo space that they're in, so they split up the condo.
The lair.
Yeah, the lair.
And his name is Derek, and he's a fucking excuse my language, he's a douchey man bun cyclist
hippie.
Freaking, what was the shirt he was wearing? This is what a feminist looks like, and he's drinking the kale drinks. One of those guys. All the guys at Burning Man right now. That's what he is. Actually, little tourism note for you, ladies and gentlemen. This is the best time to come to San Francisco during Burning Man because all the assholes are out of the city. Yep. So please come and visit if you want. We got a Comic-Con this weekend. Yeah. So come down and see the San Francisco Comic-Con at Moscone. Comic-Con's return to Moscone. I'm so excited. But back to the show. Yeah, her irritation, I guess the best analogy for it would be like if you're walking around with lint in your clothes and you couldn't get it off all the time. That's exactly how it would be.
Yeah, I mean she does such a phenomenal job of conveying that too with subtlety. And again, finessing, if you will. And I mean, just when she comes in and just even lets that burst of anger out that Derek has left his bike in the hallway there, and she breaks it, she kicks it and breaks it.
Yeah.
And then composes herself again. And I'm like, okay, that's actually pretty good. We've got somebody who's repressed the anger a bit, which plays later on in the series, which we get to. But yeah, and she used to be, we find out, the Terror's right-hand woman.
Right-hand woman. And Derek, oh, let's say that for the next future pod, where you find out who Derek is, which is freaking funny. And the guy who played Derek was great.
He did a
He
great
was
job.
hilarious. Yeah. So yeah, there wasn't anything bad in this show. If you're looking for us to bash this show, this is one of those weird convergences where Dennis and I are completely in agreement. I might actually like it more than Dennis does.
Yeah, I know you do like it more than I do. I like it a lot, but I didn't think it was the best thing I've seen all year.
I don't know. I think it's, when I say that, I asked it as a question. Is it the best thing I've seen all year? It might be the best thing I've seen all year, but I would have to wait till the end of the year when we do our favorite thing.
Well, also, hopefully, when the next 6 episodes drop, the last 6 episodes drop, that will add to it, I believe. So,
yeah, because it did kind of end in a funny place, which we'll talk about. But we're not going to have to wait too long. I think it's only a couple months that we're going to have to wait.
Yeah, fall.
Fall. Yeah, which is in a month or so.
Yeah,
there you go. So we see the Pyramid Gang. They're breaking into some kind of warehouse and they're trying to steal something. And Arthur is following them and he's on to them a little bit. And
he's trying to prove that the Terror is still alive.
Yeah, he's not trying to stop them. He's not trying to fight them. He just wants to get the information and give it to the authorities. That's all he wants to do. That's where the Tick comes into the picture. And the Tick just kind of comes out of nowhere, where you said they sees him at what the after the corner market thing, or
where did he first meet the Tick? He meets him at the warehouse.
At the warehouse, this is what that's what. So I saw him. I binge watched him. So forgive me, folks.
After Arthur gets arrested, he's going to be released into Dot's custody, and he's waiting there. And the Tick shows up again outside the window. And he's like, Arthur, I can get you out. Stand back. There might be some structural damage. He's like, no, don't. They're going to let me go. So just stand back away from the window. And at this point, Dot comes in and she goes, who are you talking to? And Arthur looks back at the window and the Tick again has vanished, which still leads us to believe, holy shit, is this his imagination still?
Yeah.
Or, and that's when we have the scene of him going home and downing those meds as soon as he can, digging them out of the trash. So
yeah, and this, this still could play into it. This could be Superhero Fight Club and a parody all wrapped into one, which would be just beyond genius.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, it's also a parody on, it's not just a superhero parody, it's a life parody too. I mean, there's a lot of current stuff going on in here that it's parodying, which is hilarious in just little subtle ways, finesse.
Yes, finesse.
Yeah.
So we have the Tick actually go back to the warehouse without Arthur. And we find out, I guess he might be real at this point, because the guys are shooting at him, all the bad guys. And he's like, you know what? He goes, why are we doing this? Guns. He has a great line about guns, and I forgot to write that one down.
What, it's like Bullet Christmas or something like that in here?
That was later on, yeah. But he had, and so he's basically, the Tick was going to take the high road and go, hey, just stop what you're doing and give up. And these guys start shooting at him. He goes, oh, new plan, and he just starts smacking guys to the side.
Yeah,
literally, it's like a slow smack like that, and they fly. And these guys are shooting him, and their bullets are bouncing off. And he's laughing.
Yeah.
And he goes, okay. And finally he gets to this one guy who looks like he's going to drop his gun. He goes, you're finally wising up. And this guy pops out of nowhere, hits him in the face of the board. It just breaks. And he's like, really? Boom, just hits him.
Oh my God. And
so
the Tick, I guess, he saves Arthur there and they go back to his pad.
Well, no. What happens is the guys are still shooting.
I'm mixing it up with episode 2. That's why.
Yeah. The guys are still shooting. Oh, this is where we've seen a case with the infamous suit that looks like a bunny in it, and it's still sitting outside by the warehouse door there. And one of the henchmen, the guy that was shooting at the Tick there, who looked like he was going to drop his gun, hits a tank an air tank, an oxygen tank, and the shooting basically sets off a gigantic explosion.
Yep.
Where, and I believe the Tick's last words before the explosion is "Go tell it on the mountain," which is from the comic, and the cartoon as well. And this is where we see Arthur's dreams, where we see that the Tick's voice has been with Arthur for a while, kid, and that is where we see the nightlight, the blue nightlight, talking to Arthur, telling him, "What are you going to do about it? What are you going to do about it? You should be doing something." And that's when the alarm goes off, where we have the homage to the cartoon with the flashing alarm clock at 6:30 a.m. And Arthur hitting it, turning it off, waking up in bed to the Tick lying next to him.
Yep. Oh my God.
Very disturbing.
Yes, very disturbing. And they talk, right? They get up and
the Tick is actually he's asking where the hidden headquarters is.
Oh yeah, he's running around and pulling on all the lights and everything and waiting for
destroying things.
This we're getting a little background on Arthur a little bit. Like he's just completely not into it at this point. And does Tick present him with the suit right there?
He does.
Yes.
He says, "Here's what I got. Here's what survived last night's explosion." And he slams down the case. And Arthur's like, "What is that?" And he goes, "It's the only thing that survived." And he goes, "What, do you want me to put this on, the suit?" He goes, "It looks like your size." And that's when he has the whole talk about, "Can't you feel it? Destiny's warm hand at the small of your back, pushing." And we also get another disturbing quote, was when he says, and Arthur's going, "Who are you?" And he goes, "You know me. I'm the you you've always wanted to be," is what the Tick says. And we're like, okay,
I think that says a lot about what, I mean, the cool thing is this show's making the Tick's origin interesting.
Yes.
Now, in the comic book, like we talked about in our post-production podcast, I can't remember. I mean, like I've read most of the Tick comic books from back in the day, but it was a long time ago. It was referred to the fact that they talked about him being insane.
Yeah,
I thought he was actually escaped lunatic. In the cartoon, he was kicked out of the bus stop he was defending by the other superheroes there or other people there because they were so annoyed by it. So he went and defended the city. And I think it's called The City.
It's called The City.
Yeah, he defends the city. And where I live, we're so pompous, we call San Francisco the city too, which is, again, arrogant as hell. So they're talking, and then Miss Lint comes in. That's when her hit.
The Tick goes outside. He leaves the suit there for Arthur.
Oh yeah, and he walks out the window. Yeah, I'll be on the rooftops, and Arthur's all whatever. Yeah.
And that's when he tries on the suit, and we see the suit fits him perfectly.
Yep.
And he activates the wings. He gets the wings to pop open, and also the goggles. And that's when the Pyramid Gang pops in, because at this point, Miss Lint is kind of pissed off that the Tick has gone through and destroyed the warehouse and knocked out most of her guys. And they're like, "Who did it?" And they said, "Oh, we think he was with the little guy who got arrested last night." So they're tracking down Arthur. They track him back to his apartment.
Because the suit's got a little homing beacon on it, right? Or something.
Yes, it does have a homing beacon, which we don't find out until the second episode. But
yeah,
that's how they track him down. And basically, he ends up with the pyramid guy who bursts into the door, starts shooting at Arthur. There was actually a conversation earlier by the warehouse where they're saying that the suit is bulletproof. And I'm like, "Well, how are we going to test it?" And she goes, "Well, I'm not going to put it on and test it." She goes, "Well, maybe we'll put you in it and test you with it." And this is the test to basically see if the suit is bulletproof. And that's how we end episode 1.
Yeah, and dude, one, it's a great upgrade to the dumbass moth costume, and it makes it very cool, actually. And this is the cool thing is, because if you would have told me Arthur would have been the focal point, I would have gone, but totally pulled it off. It was great.
And we also get Arthur's last name. We get him a last name as well. It's Everest. Arthur
Arthur
Everest.
Everest. Oh, I didn't even catch that. I feel
Yeah.
like tick. Oh, really? Ha. Didn't get that at all.
I've seen it 3
Oh,
times now, so yeah.
yeah, I saw it in bits and pieces. But again, I binge watched it. But dude, it is it is so freaking good. If you haven't watched it and for some reason you just like watching us talk about stuff you haven't seen, which is full, that'd be great. But go watch it. Go watch it.
It's a lot of fun.
If you haven't finished watching it, make time. Go finish it. We will be doing a podcast on every episode. I guess we're committed now. We're committed, so we're going to do it.
We are committed. We should be.
Yes. So yeah, and we will be back. Actually, well, if you're watching this live, we'll be back in a few minutes.
And now some station identification.
Yes, and now for this important commercial, which is my office. No, my office background. Yeah, so we're going to end it there. Any final words, Dennis?
Where can you find us at, Gary?
Oh, well, you can find, for one, all of our links are in the description below, be it website or YouTube channel. But you can find us at nerdrotic.com. That's where all of our videos and podcasts are placed. We also have the Nerdrotic channel. We also have a Facebook, which is the Nerdrotic podcast. That's our news aggregate that Dennis works on. Please like us, comment, rate, review on all 3 of those things, especially, like us on the Facebook, and especially subscribe to us on YouTube. It really helps.
Yes. And comment. You can win prizes.
Yeah, maybe we'll do. You want to do a prize? We should do a prize.
We could do a prize for this.
We could do a prize. Well, if you watch the second episode, we'll have thought of a prize by then.
I've got some tick paraphernalia.
I do too. I don't think I want to give up my Ben Edlund sketch. I really don't.
No, not the. I've actually have toys.
Oh, okay. Well, yeah, we'll and I think so we'll do like a little fun tick prize pack for you. If you comment, you got to subscribe to us on YouTube and comment, and that will get you in the running. And at the end of the series, we will give you a prize. I'll add to that prize. It might not be tick stuff, but it'll be cool stuff. I will add to that. And actually we have a leftover $20 Amazon gift card from Amazon. So we'll throw that in too. Okay. So there you go. You have incentive to watch us. That's pretty amazing. If you're watching us live, we'll be back in a few minutes. If you're not, we're going to be back tomorrow. Dennis, take us out.
Don't let the door hit your ass on the way out, America.
Spoon.
You have been listening to a Nerdrotic podcast. Please subscribe.
Come here. Say hi to the people. There you go. And that's Pepper. Yeah. You can't see it. It's off screen, but she's wagging her tail. Yeah. I know. Gary's going to go, what the fuck is going on with this video when he sees it later on?